There's a 100% chance that you will have cancer by the time you're age 30. Words that no 15-year-old should ever hear. Words no 15-year-old ever plans on hearing. But words I was given when I was a sophomore in high school. When I was 15, I was diagnosed with familial polyposis, a genetic disease that increases your polyp count in your GI tract. For those of you that don't know, polyps are growths that occur that can become cancerous if not treated. To give you some context, if a person has about a handful of polyps found in their GI tract, that's seen as concerning and cause for worry. Well, when they checked me, I had thousands. They couldn't count, and when they biopsied them, they found that they had high levels of dysplasia, which is a stage you find before becoming cancerous. So I was a sophomore in high school, and they told me I needed surgery. And so we scheduled the surgery for August to ensure that I wouldn't lose a month and a half of school. And needless to say, I was very stressed, I was very nervous, but I didn't want to talk to anyone about it. A lot of my closest friends didn't even know I had the disease because no one wants to talk about intestines. So even with my parents and my mother who has had the disease, I would lock myself in my room. But finally, August rolled around and it was time for my surgery. And it was a 6 to 7 hour procedure. And it seemed like everything was going great. It was supposed to be a 5 to 7 day hospital stay. But 2 days in, I came down with a stomach bug, which is awful if you haven't been in the hospital and had your stomach operated on. But lucky me, I just had my abdominal muscles disturbed in surgery and just had them cut open. So the reflex of throwing up was severely unpleasant. And it halted my progress because instead of being able to get back onto food, I was stuck on IV fluids for an additional week and a half. I wasn't able to do a lot of things like walking without a lot of pain, and I was hunched over for most of my days. But thankfully my friends and family came to visit me, and I slowly got better. Then I was discharged, and I had about 2 weeks until my junior year of high school was set to start. I wasn't able to stand for more than 4 minutes without back pain and dizziness, and so I had a lot of ways to go before I could get back to school. But of course, school started, and I had to start with all the limitations that I had at home. I wasn't allowed to go up and down stairs, so I was taking the elevator to get to my classes. I couldn't carry my own books, so I had to have friends follow me from class to class. And thanks to my lovely 3-floored, unair-conditioned high school, I was stuck on the 3rd floor with heat rising up. And after losing 20 pounds to surgery, there were high chances of me passing out. So there were several instances in which I almost passed out in the middle of class. But I slowly got better, and I slowly got as close to normal as you can in this condition. Later that year, one of my best friends was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. And most of my friends found it difficult to relate to her or find out what the right things to say. And for me, I found it a lot easier to relate because while I've never been diagnosed with cancer officially, I've received a diagnosis which is pretty much a designated, you have a good shot at cancer. And so while my friends who hadn't had any sort of situation like that, I found that I was able to relate to her on that level and talk about what it's like to be in such physical pain and what it's like to feel like your body and you are 2 separate things and you have no control over one or the other. And so I was able to go to her chemo treatments and provide comfort that a sympathy card just really couldn't do. And so she finally got better and she went into remission, but then another one of my friends was diagnosed with leukemia. And yet again, my friends came to me with, how do I talk to him? How do I approach this situation without making him feel exiled and something completely unhuman? How do we make him feel comfortable? And suddenly I found myself able to provide a different level of comfort and a different level of expertise on something that I could have never predicted. And so while one would think that a diagnosis like this would take you down and really would take you to a different place and a darker place, I found that my surgery and my diagnosis gave me strength, not only for myself, but gave me the ability to find strength for other people. And sometimes that's a little bit more hard than doing it for yourself. It's easy to try to motivate yourself, but when you're trying to find the right words to say to someone who you may not be in the same position as, but you can try to relate to, something that's it's something infinitely more challenging. And so I learned how to be strong in challenges and stress and how to negotiate with yourself. And so I know today that there's no real stress that I can't handle, and there's no physical pain that I can't withstand because I've been through so much. So I'm never going to get better. I'm never going to be cured from familial polyposis. And if I ever want to have a child, there's a 50% chance that that child will inherit the same disease as I have. Something that I'd have to live with for the rest of my life. But every 6 months, I'm scoped, and every 6 months, I run the risk that I will be told I have cancer. But every 6 months, I'm reminded of my strength and the strength that my diagnosis has given me, and I'm infinitely more thankful for